at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson.
Tonight, Cyclone Debbie unleashes on Queensland. Holiday resorts smashed by 260 km/h winds. The once-in-a-century rainfall and how it will affect your grocery bill. Still sitting in Sydney Harbour, why our warships aren't in the storm zone. And later, one of football's biggest stars jailed for a year. Ben Cousins fall from grace. Good evening. Cyclone Debbie is ravaging the North Queensland coast tonight with catastrophic winds ripping buildings and marinas apart. She's currently a Category 4 cyclone, with Airlie Beach taking a direct hit. But we begin our coverage in Bowen.
Like an unwanted guest, Debbie arrived late and wouldn't leave, making landfall around 1 p.m. local time, but moving remarkably slowly, southwest at 6 to 9 km/h, prolonging the agony. Bowen, a coastal town of 10,000 people, slammed by 260 km/h winds. This was the roof of the bowling club, blown away like paper. 200 mils of rain in just an hour, massive seas. Hard to tell rain from sea spray, all of it horizontal. Trees torn from the ground, power lines down, 30,000 homes blacked out, phone service interrupted. Every scrap of debris potentially lethal. This from Sunrise's live coverage.
Being ripped off, it flew into the air.
And the noise, like jet engines or a speeding freight train.
If you've wanted to know what 190 km/h winds look like, you are seeing them now.
I can only really start to feel for those in those seaside communities.
One saving grace, Debbie's arrival didn't coincide with the 10 a.m. high tide, but still a damaging storm surge. This yacht ripped from its moorings at Mackay, driven ashore and sunk. At Mackay Marina, waves breached the seawall, yachts and cruisers at risk. This man thought his boat was safely snugged up, but the rear awning was smashed against the pier. Lucky if that's the worst of it.
Well, she took her time getting here, but when Cyclone Debbie finally reached this North Queensland coastline, she was as terrifying as she was predicted to be. The Queensland Premier described this storm as a monster. She was right.
She is taking her time to cross the coast, but she is bringing with her a whole lot of might and a whole lot of fury.
The strike zone for very destructive winds covered 200 kilometres from Bowen to Mackay, including Proserpine and Airlie Beach. Some 30,000 residents were urged to evacuate. Those who stayed were well aware of the risk, but did their best to stay safe. Those new to nature's fury were
scared.
And here's why.
There we go.
Another tree gives way. Old hands know the safest place is often the bathroom.
All we can do is hope for the best and take all the precautions you can take, eh?
This Bowen couple sheltered in their shop, safer than staying at home.
We're only probably a metre above the high tide mark, and so we're a little bit worried about the house.
Early on, some ventured outside.
The dogs are outside, by the way. Is it going to be Category 5 before they're allowed in, is it?
Yeah, when it spins around, they can go in the garage.
But within hours, this was no laughing matter.
Hopefully it's not going to get much better, but it is.
In Bowen, Chris Reason, 7 News.
And as Debbie moves slowly toward the Queensland coast, some of the region's top tourist spots were right in the firing line. Guests had no choice but to shelter in their hotel rooms. A holiday experience they'll never forget.
When she finally arrived, Debbie delivered. As 263 km/h winds roared across the Whitsunday Islands. And it was a monster. Tourists trapped on Hamilton Island thought they were ready.
This is where we're bunkered down.
But nothing could prepare them for this holiday hell. Among them, MKR stars Will Stewart and Steve Flood.
Yeah, it's really, really, really intense. The water's forcing its way through the double doors here. It's just intensifying even more. Like right now outside, it's absolutely giving us a battering.
The worst was still to come.
It sounds like a jet engine almost roaring. It's a sound I've never heard before, and it's quite frightening.
It's just freaky. I don't even know how these trees are staying up.
Some didn't. The wind peeled roofs off buildings, sent yachts floating out to sea. The jetty at Daydream Island was no match for a Category 4 cyclone. Hayman Island was first to experience the eye of the storm, bringing with it a strange sense of calm. It didn't last long. Resort owner Carolyn Murray was all alone on Long Island. While the guests were evacuated from their rooms, she chose to ride it out.
I think Debbie needs to take a chill pill because I'm getting a bit fed up with this.
But Debbie wasn't finished as she hurtled towards the Queensland coast, leaving Airlie Beach, a tropical tourist town, looking anything but.
We came to Airlie Beach for a relaxing weekend and it just has become something different.
An unexpected honeymoon too for newlyweds Christian and Renee Zelvers. They were married in sunshine on Saturday. Now they're holed up in a hotel room.
We didn't think we'd be in a cyclone, but it wasn't going to stop us though.
No.
Julie and Asher Telford own a catamaran business here and had to sit and watch as their boats were battered.
People don't come to Airlie Beach to stay in a hotel, they come to Airlie Beach to go to Whitehaven and go out on the boat. So if the boats aren't there, the town's not there.
After 24 hours of driving rain and howling winds, this is a rare moment of reprieve. We're in the eye of the storm and people are just starting to come outside to take a look at the damage, but the winds will pick up again. And soon. When they did, they were fierce and destructive.
The actual building was shaking, so pretty intense.
Yachts were smashed against breakwalls and each other, sails shredded. The pontoon walkway ripped from the marina. It hit a water main which burst and added to the flooding. Low-lying homes couldn't escape the storm surge. This is why residents were told to get out.
This one hit us hard.
But how hard may not be known for days. Angie Asimus, 7 News.